Hey, Dave Rother here, and in this video I'm going to talk to you about a weird brain glitch that's left over from when we were primates that was designed to keep us alive and that can help you sell more products and get more attention online. Uh, this is all going to be centered around the photorealistic image of the snake which I've drawn here. I'm sorry for anybody that are scared that thought this was real. I know it's a tremendous illustration, but this is going to become apparent to you in a second exactly what this means. And it all falls back to something, an element of our brain called the reticular activating system. And that's not an M, there we go. So the reticular activating system is something which is really important to keep you sane. And it's also really important to keep you from snakes. So this is where this kind of bears into relevance. So the reticular activating system is something which is designed to knock you out of regular everyday ticking along mode and notice things in your peripheral vision, in your peripheral attention, and to draw your attention back around to it. So essentially, the human brain is bombarded by information, especially today on in the online sphere in which we live, in social media, where we've constantly got people prying for our attention, whether it be to sell us stuff or just to be narcissistic or whatever it is. Everybody's prying for our attention, and this is the thing that actually keeps us sane. The reticular activating system chooses what to ignore and chooses what to pay attention to. So when it comes to actually, so the reason that this exists is that, say if you're walking along as a primate in the woods, and you get into your regular keeping yourself alive, wandering along, walking through the woods, the reticular activating system is the sort of thing which notices the snake hanging from the tree, notices things which are unusual, notices things that aren't part of the regular everyday what you would deem safe and happy to go along with, etc. So the reticular activating system essentially is designed to keep you alive. It notices things which you don't consciously, when you get into your pattern, when you get into your everyday walking through the woods, walking through wherever sort of routine, the reticular activating system is the thing that wakes you up and goes, I need to pay attention to this because it might kill me. So this is absolutely the same today in terms of online, in terms of everything. The majority of us are basically sleeping awake, walking around, sleeping awake, walking around in our preset routines. You probably noticed this if you've arrived at work or arrived at the office or arrived at the gym and suddenly turned around and realised that you don't even remember leaving, because our bodies get set into routines, into patterns, and into just going along with the flow and like doing what's usual, what's ordinary to us, and it fades into the background. The reticular activating system decides that we don't need to consciously consider what's going on. So we get into these patterns and these routines. The only thing that knocks us out of that is things like snakes, things that are unusual, things that are perceived as potentially a danger or something which is unusual, and therefore our conscious brain needs to come back into play and start deciding what to do about it, right? So this is why this particular thing is really, really important. And this kind of lizard brain psychology feeds into one of the most important things that you need to know to grab attention online as a marketer, which is pattern interrupt. Now, in the last video, we spoke about intrigue and how we can drag people along, well, not drag, hopefully, but we can coax people along this journey from their initial interaction with us to the next stage where we tell them a story about our brand, to the next stage where we start to develop the relationship with them, and then the next stage where we pitch them our product or service, and the next stage where they become a buyer, and the next stage where they become a repeat buyer, etc., etc., etc. Everything stems from that one first initial interaction, and therefore we need to try and get that catchment as big as possible. We need to capture as many people as possible by disrupting their patterns, by activating their reticular activating system, by grabbing their attention and taking them out of their routines. Now, going back to a second ago when I was talking about how you've probably had this experience of arriving at work and realizing that you don't even remember actually leaving the house in the first place. You've somehow managed to get in the car, drive a big chunk of metal through lots of other humans and not kill anyone, because your brain's really good at doing it. It gets into these routines. It knows exactly what to do. It doesn't need you there. It doesn't. It's delegated all the responsibility, the stuff that you subconsciously know how to do, to your subconscious, right? So therefore, this is what we've got to contend with. Like, how many times have you found yourself scrolling through your Facebook feed or your Instagram feed, approximately 7.5 miles in, and you don't even remember picking up the phone to do it? It's borderline frightening, but it's all engineered. It's spectacularly engineered by engagement engineers at these platforms to get you into this routine, this sleeping awake routine of getting to the platform and spending time there. But the problem that we come up against is that people who are spending time there are often sleeping awake and will often scroll past our stuff and not pay attention because it doesn't activate their conscious brain. So then how do we start to activate their conscious brain? Essentially, we shock them. This is what Pattern Interrupt is about. And it doesn't necessarily need to be grizzly bear in front of you on a path in the woods kind of shock. It just needs to be something which is not what they're used to seeing. So for example, a really good example of this is, I don't know whether you've seen the documentary on Fyre Festival. This is by no means a sort of instruction to go and look at the business ethics of Fyre Festival and glean anything from that whatsoever. But one thing which they did, which is really interesting and really powerful for them in terms of marketing, which is where, if you don't know the story of Fyre Festival, it's essentially a pretty crazy guy, entrepreneur, for want of a better word, who created a lot of buzz around a festival that didn't exist. Did a tremendous job with the marketing, but then couldn't actually put on a festival, didn't have the chops to actually do it, and ended up a complete disaster. Go and watch the documentaries on Netflix and Hulu if you're not seeing them. Absolutely hilarious and spectacular, and a real kind of eye-opener as to what's possible with marketing in the wrong hands. But regardless, one of the things that they did, which was really successful, is they got a bunch of people, they got a bunch of models, and they paid them a considerable amount of money. One of the things this guy was particularly good at doing was getting investment. So they managed to have all this investment, and they managed to pay a bunch of models to come along and film a video, which is a very successful video. It looked incredible. Like, basically illustrated a festival that was never going to happen. It was completely misleading, but they managed to get all these models involved. And what these models did, or what they got them to do, was all at the same time on a given day. They strategically organised for it doesn't really matter what this is, but they strategically organised for them to post the exact same thing. So say this is your Instagram feed, and you got picture. Here's me on my holidays. Here's me on my bikini. That's not me. I don't regularly wear it. But then in amongst this feed, they got all of these models, like these models with huge engagement, huge audiences, to post at the same time an orange tile. Just literally an orange block, the exact same one. And the instruction for them was to post this, and then just an intriguing comment, something like, I think it was something like, meet me at Fyre Festival. So again, this is not an education in the business model or the ethics of Fyre Festival, but what was really interesting is this orange tile is a perfect example of pattern interrupt. So this is not what people are expecting to see when they scroll through their Instagram feed. They're used to seeing stuff like this rather beautiful illustration of a house and a tree up here, or they're used to seeing their friends post. They're used to seeing photorealistic stuff, photos of things, photos of people. So to see an orange tile, this immediately activates their reticular activating system. They go, oh, what's this? This is unusual. I need to look at the caption to see exactly what this is. And then they see Fyre Festival, and they see it time and time again. And gradually, because the type of people they wanted to attract, they found their influencers, these particular models, and they all posted this orange tile. And suddenly it starts to bring them from their sleeping awake state into, oh, I keep seeing this orange tile. It keeps reminding them and hammering them home. And it's this fantastic illustration of pattern interrupt. It is, in a way, quite sad that these guys didn't have the chops to pull off Fyre Festival, because the marketing job that they did beforehand was, in fact, if you completely disregard the awful ethics and the complete failure of a job that they did to put on the festival, and just look at the marketing, there was some fantastic lessons to be gleaned from that, and some fantastic illustrations of these kind of concepts of engagement and of virality, which they managed to achieve. So why is this important? Just to draw it back to this journey that you've got of finding people online and turning them into customers. Essentially, the way everything in terms of sales works is like a funnel, right? So at the top, you get every single person that you potentially get in to your business, and then at the bottom, you get the people who actually become become buyers, right? So that's slightly off camera, but you get the impression. So the more people that you generally get in at the top end here, the more people that you manage to get into the top end of your funnel, so long as they're qualified or relatively qualified, the more people you have a chance of turning into customers. The more people you can get in here, the more, because generally these kind of percentages are the same, you know. So say this is the amount of people who click through, and then this is the people of them who actually initiate checkout, and then this is the amount of people who actually purchase. Then generally these conversion percentages generally stay the same. It's just the general law of how it works. Now obviously that depends on quality of traffic. Like if you get a list of people who are very relevant to your product, like a list of, say you're selling fishing related stuff, and you manage to get an email list or get an email sent out by somebody who has a list of fishing related people, then you've got a much better quality of traffic coming in at the top end. So you've got a much better chance of converting these people each level, and therefore these percentages are going to be higher. But regardless of that, if you were to say going out to consistently to a cold traffic source like Facebook for argument's sake, then generally you're going to see that a click-through rate here could be something like 1.5% of unique outbound clicks. And of those people, the people who initiate checkout could be something like 20%. And the people who actually make a purchase could be, say, 1.5%. So if that's a rule, then naturally it means that the more people that you get into this top end, the more people you turn into customers. And the very first interaction of getting people to click through to your product, get to click through to your landing page, or even before that to actually engage with you as a brand or as a business, the very, very first interaction is to get them to stop scrolling. That's the very first thing that you have to do, the very first thing that you need to consider. Get them to stop scrolling, then you can start telling them your story, then you can start educating them, helping them. But this first thing of getting them to stop scrolling is absolutely crucial, and that's why pattern interrupt, this weird psychological brain glitch which is left over from when we were primates, is absolutely crucial to you and is a fantastic tool for capturing people's attention and taking them on this journey to becoming a repeat customer of yours and a die-hard fan.